I'm there. How about it? Good afternoon and welcome. A little hot stove update on a Friday. Happy Friday to you. Sorry about the little stop start a moment ago. And yeah, thanks to my mates in Cleveland too. I did know the mic was up and I popped it back down. Although I wasn't saying anything anyway, except you heard me. Maybe that's about it. Maybe having a sip of coffee. But glad you guys are along. And another good, exciting, you name it. Throw insert adjective you want to insert. And I want to make sure that my audio is working here. Yeah, we are. We are working there. So good. We won't have to do that next week. When we get going next week on our show next Wednesday, we won't have to worry about that as much. But I do got to kind of manually check the audio, make sure we're all going. Let me kind of pop it up just a tad here. There we go. And bring the new countdowns up and got that done. That It's a great example of what happened this last season when we weren't playing. It's about opportunity. Uh, there was no opportunity to play, and there was no opportunity for me to work on my craft and do what I do. But there were opportunities there to get better. And one of the things was they'll throw together a countdown, which I never thought I could do that. But throw one together in about 10 minutes or less. So all good. Good to see Brad. Thank you very much for the well wishes. Things are better in our house. Uh, I haven't been saying how much. I've only made one post about it on social. My wife posted extensively during the week, but we've been wrecked with the COVID situation in our house, and I appreciate the well wishes there. Anyway, all right, let's jump into what we're here for. We're here for uh, the good news. I mean, it's good news, and it's double whammy. I've got one for you that you probably saw overnight, and the other one is a bonus that I think you're going to be pretty fired up about too. Although you kind of already knew about this bonus, it's actually cool to have that bonus basically finally official. Let's start with the. I'll give you both pieces of information first. Ty Kelly, former big leaguer, he's the last postseason hit for the New York Mets. Trivia question there on the pub. Uh, Also, a member of Team Israel. He's a really interesting story. He's a very interesting story. A utility guy. Um, we're going to talk about him in a moment. He was signed overnight last night. Well, last night, 6 or 7 o'clock is something like that, Central Time, added the card. And then you've got Darnell Sweeney is official. Now, Sweeney was already in control of the ball club, and we pretty much had been counting Darnell. He's one of those guys who already counted on our roster, sort of, okay, he's there. We expect him to sign. He hadn't signed yet. And what I do is I highlight the names who are signed and who aren't on our roster, at least for my records. He hadn't quite had the highlight yet, but I mean, I knew it was coming. And so Darnell Sweeney also was officially assigned. Now, Sweeney, remember, he was going to be with the club last summer. and then was picked up in the expansion. I think expansion, that's a bad word. The Spursatory draft that they had, the association had, and he went to Winnipeg, had a great summer, and talk about him in a moment as well. But those are the two pieces, two really good pieces. Is it loud there? Let me bring it down just a little bit. Is it loud or low? Is it loud? You guys want it louder or lower? Louder, lower. Am I not being heard properly? Is that what it is? I'm seeing. Anyone else having trouble getting Dan's volume up? Are you guys? Am I too low? Am I low, 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 low? Loud here, loud here. Low, lower. You want it lower, Austin? Okay. See, I had it right where I normally have it. Sounds good. Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna go back to where I was. So, have you guys seen that commercial for? I think it's one of the supermarkets nationally. Is it Kroger? Maybe they're doing that low song. Low, low, low. That's an old, I don't know, mid 2000s club dance rap song, and they have the little little characters doing the low because the prices are going lower. Well, I'm doing my volume, so just went back down. Okay, well, Mike, apparently, Mike, and as much as I love you, Mike, and you know I love you dearly, mate, it may be on your end because everybody else is telling me it's all thumbs up. So, with that, let's jump right into it. And thanks to Morgan for her fine work as always. There we go. Let me bring this down too to get you all the details on our first piece of news here. And let's bring that down there. And Ty Kelly, I one of the things I love about this job is the off season, as I talked about, detective research, right? Where you get a name, sort of heard of the guy. I mean, I knew the name. I knew the name. It hit me somewhere. It's one of those things, you recognize ball players' names that you crossed their path or you watched a game or whatever, but you put a name on a piece of paper or in a text or whatever that's sent to you, and you kind of start the research. And this is something I tell my staff during the season. The first thing that your best friend is Baseball Reference. You go to Baseball Reference, that kind of gives you an overview, draft, where he's from, things of that nature, right? The basics. And then you start digging a little bit. You start digging a little bit more, and you start doing a little digging, and you start doing the research. And there's stories out there. I mentioned the prospect writers who write prospect stories, or maybe it's a video search, or you check you check their Twitter feed, their social media channels, and all that. And so a lot of things came together. This is one of the more interesting young men that we've had in a while. Um, I can't really put my finger on who he reminds me of as a person because I haven't met him yet. I'm looking forward to it. But he's got that major league pedigree. He's got some skins in the wall there, but he's also got some international skins in the wall. He's very active in social media, very active in not just social media causes, but in baseball causes as well. Very out in front with some of the MILB things that happened in the last couple of years. He's also a very engaging guy, very funny guy. I've watched some very, very good stuff on social, and I'm really looking forward, as I do to all of our guys, but we're getting to that point too. We're already getting that hot stove point where we're past the holiday season. We start to meet these guys, getting on the shows, or get the bios done as we get closer to the season, to meet them during the season, pre-games and all that stuff. So we're getting to that point. I'm looking so forward to meeting Ty Kelly, a 32-year-old, 6 foot. He was born in Dallas, but raised in the West Coast, if what my bio tells me. Um, Young man who reached the big leagues with the Mets, with the Phillies, is got that upper level pedigree, a lot of AAA time. And do you remember the conversation we had during the broadcast? It was been 2019. I brought this up again during the hot stove last year, and I may have brought it up last summer, on those steakhouse shows we did during the American Association season. He's a member of Team Israel. It's a very interesting story, Team Israel. Of course, Team Israel has already qualified for the Olympics in Tokyo. Of course, this is the last time the Olympics are going to have baseball as we know it. It may come back, but right now there's no plans beyond this Olympiad to have baseball. Now, I do believe baseball is going to push for it, softball push for it. I still think when the Olympics come back to North America, you'll see baseball played there. But he's a member of Team Israel, and I remember I went through this whole story. The Israeli, the Israeli governing body of sport, especially for sports that they don't have traditionally in Israel. And baseball's not a sport has not been played in Israel. For example, Italy and Germany and Holland have a lot more baseball history with the U.S. Military bases in those countries, some of the expats and all that. There's been a lot more baseball growth in those countries. Israel does have a lot of American influences in their, but their baseball growth from the folks there who, let's say, 1950s and onward, a lot of the Jewish state weren't baseball oriented unless they were American. And there was a real dilemma that the Israeli governing body of sport went through, because obviously, there's certain sports you almost have to import. We do the same thing here. I mean, I use soccer as a case in point. Soccer is not a sport that was really domesticated in the States. It's obviously something European, and we've tried to bring it and grow our programs, our women's program at top notch and all that. Long and the short of it is, Team Israel is really grown their game, the baseball side of things. And one thing they've done is that it's a lot like we talked about some of these players. I remember we mentioned a guy named Joey Wong who played in our league at St. Paul a couple of years ago. Joey played for Team China, and but it was through his grandparents. Sort of the same thing, but Israel's been very, very aggressive in trying to unearth American, Canadian talent in baseball, and top-notch talent who may not qualify as a citizen yet, but by virtue of the bloodline, their parents, grandparents, whatever. And that's something Israel's done, and that's why Israel's gone to the front of a lot of folks thought them as more of an upset choice when they made the second round of the WBC in 2017. But that's no fluke. They've actually built their program. Their national program is arguably probably the top two right now in that European region. I mean, they're definitely the top team if you want to count the African continent, which is what they break them down, and then the European area as well, the Mediterranean. Mediterranean, the Dutch, the Italians, and Team Israel. And so it's really exciting to see this whole thing and something we talked about. Excuse me here, a little water. Let me get to a couple of your comments too, guys. Sorry about that. Ray, we have signed Ty Kelly, former Met Ty Kelly, and I guess I probably should show you a little cover video of him too. But I love this whole story. You know how much I love international baseball. I just really champion it. I think it's really cool that players are playing all around the world now. We talked about Chris Colabello, who played for Team Italy. Former KC T-Bone a couple of years ago. Chris went and played actually the same tournament that Ty Kelly was part of. He actually played in that European Championship, and Chris really dedicated himself to Team Italy. But Israel's done a really phenomenal job of trying to grow their program, and I think it's a great example. In obviously, the American baseball culture is set, but I think, and I use it for me, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, places that I've been in touch with internationally. The great way to grow your baseball program is Israel's gone from basically 30th in the world to a top 10 club in the world, and definitely going to be in the Olympics. So anyway, Ty Kelly, can you tell you more about that? I'm gonna get to your comments as well, folks. But Kelly, again, time in the big leagues, and I'll pull that bio up for you too. His big league time, Mets, Phillies, Mets. He's done 3 swims of the Mets, most recently in 2018. The bulk of his career, though, not bulk of it, he's played 188 big league games. 104 he played with Philly in 2017. I'm sorry, 69 in 2017. That was his at bats, pardon me. 70 games in 2017, and then 39 and 16 his big league call up, which would have been on his debut, would have been, I don't have that debut, do I? Thought I did, but I'm going to have it handy here. But anyway, Ty Kelly is your one of your new Monarchs there, and exciting time. But here is a little video from This is this is the 2017 season. May freeze up a bit on this. Is against this is a double against Chris Sale, and I don't know why the video is taking its sweet arse time there, but there we go. There's the double, the corner. Come on now, come on now. I guess I got to get like not like 10G Wi-Fi in my house to get this to fly. I don't know why it's. There we go. But we'll get a nice shot of him in a moment there at second base. I swear it's going to get there. I swear it's going to get there. But you get the point, though. You do see that. It's freezing up a mind. There you go. Good shot of him right there. And that is then also a spring. This is an opposite field shot in spring training. Look at this shot. Spring training shot. This is an oppo shot in spring training. How about that one? That one's pretty impressive right there as well. But yeah, it looks good on y'all's end, so it's all good. It's my end here that's it's freezing up. So, yeah, that's the shot right there. But an opposite field homer, little opposite field power for Ty Kelly. So welcome, Ty Kelly. He is again very active on social media, and I encourage you guys to check out his channels. But there you go again, Ty Kelly. In defensively, and this is what Joe's talking about too. We're excited to have Ty with us. 21 season experience at the highest level bring tremendous value to our club on and off the field. And I think, Joe's ability to not just get quality players, but quality individuals. And this guy strikes me as just, again, I haven't met him, but just reading what I've read, the articles I've read, the media I've seen the last day. And when I'm sitting at Baylor last night getting a Regeneron infusion, I had plenty of time to do a lot of reading up. And this guy's got a little something in the personality department. So welcome him to the Metro, and very cool to see that. Ty Kelly is a Monarch. Now, the other little bonus here I mentioned a moment ago is the one and only Darnell Sweeney. You talk about quality individuals. You talk about folks that are just, far exceed, what you expect from a ball player. This is him. Sweeney, as a matter of fact, I've got I believe I've got it right now. Let me download this. This actually came from the greatness of Morgan. Let me just download it right now. I'll put it on the show live. That's how good. That's how fast we can operate here. We can actually jump on it and put this up live. I didn't put it in the system, but Morgan was able to jump on this and get this in to me within minutes, and I really appreciate her efforts today on Friday, jumping in. And really last night, too, able to jump in and do that for us. I appreciate it. But let me pull that up for you there. Promise. But yeah, Sweeney, a guy that, no introduction, but this is the thing that I keep thinking about. How much I missed the 2020 season. I think we all did. And I think back to 2019. And I remember, and my wife and I were talking this last night a little, or maybe this morning when we found this out. I remember going to a host family barbecue. I believe, I don't remember at the men's house or not, but I believe that's where it was. And Darnell was there, his wife, his little beautiful little daughter, and he was the ultimate gentleman, family man, just loving the moment, loving playing in Kansas City. And of course, would get signed shortly after that. And his contract was purchased, going to the Pirates organization. Then, of course, came back last spring and had a phenomenal year in Winnipeg, was named Batter of the Month of July. And I'm going to show you a great play he made, courtesy of Steve Schuster from the Winnipeg Gold Eyes broadcast in a moment. But 29-year-old, 6'1", big league time with the Phillies. Now, he and Ty did not cross paths there. They missed each other by 1 year. And Sweeney did not play, but just for a short time, part of that 17 season in AAA. But they did not cross paths at AAA. And Sweeney's bulk of his AAA time was the Dodgers, and with the Blue Jays, or most of the Dodgers. They did not cross paths with the Phillies. And of course, Darnell didn't play with the Mets organization. So I thought there was a chance they might have been teammates. They missed the Phillies by 1 year, but did not play. Were not teammates in AAA. But I would imagine, my guess is they probably do know each other. Freddie will be my guess. Sweeney, again, mentioned player of the month, and I'm pulling this up because this is the official Monarchs bio on Mr. Sweeney. But Sweeney last year, went to play with the Gold Eyes in the dispersal draft. He was the third player chosen overall by Winnipeg on the that draft back in June 20th, June 17th of 20. He was right behind former T-Bone's hero in the playoffs from 18, LA Laga was the second pick. So he's right there, obviously amongst pretty good company. 2020 hit 277, slashed a 277, 354, and 521 line. Hit 14 home runs, 38 driven in, 80. Finished second in the Goldies with both homers and team leading in runs scored. He also led the team in driven in. Also 14 team leading doubles for Goldie last year, and 14 team leading stolen bases. You forget, and we didn't see we only saw a quarter, really less than that, about 20% of a season from Darnell back in 2019. You forget his speed factor, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but that's a plus. And I forgot, too, when you see the outfield play, his versatility, and why I believe why we pencil him in the outfield. But hit 330 in the month of July, led the league with 7 home runs, and the Rawlings batted the month of July, and really helped propel that Winnipeg club. Remember, Winnipeg just ran out of gas. They played their entire season away from Winnipeg. They were in the bubble the whole time, or the hub. They were a barnstorming team, the only team that had no home park. Just ran out of gas. But I still think that he was a phenomenal story last year in the league. His month of July, 330, 391, and 641. 11 doubles, 22 driven in the month of July, and that's the player of the month last July in the American Association. So, yeah, and such a sweet family. My wife mentioned that too. Again, these are impressions, and I think back, when I think of Darnell, I think back of, again, that host family get-together. And I think about my conversations, and he was only with us for a short time. Let's pull that up too. He only played in that year. What was it? 23 games. So yeah, he was gone June, I believe June 9th, I believe, that year. Hit 288, had 4 home runs, 9 driven in, was on a really good pace. Do you remember too that 19 season? This club started to take off a bit. Went to Kokomo playing the Milwaukee Milkmen. Remember, they were barnstorming themselves. Had a bit of a rough homestand, got to a rough start. Started to gel on that trip to Kokomo. During that trip to Kokomo, the team would come back home. Darnell would actually get signed while we were in Kokomo, but you could see that team start to really gel and really being led by Sweeney. And the team kind of hit the wall and kind of leveled for a moment, but you could see the impact he had. By the time the team got home, we're home for about a week, hit the road again down in Grand Prairie, went that first Texas swing, the team started to really get to come together. And I believe the 19th season, I'm interested to see what Joe says about this when we get him on Wednesday. Hopefully get Joe on Wednesday. How much of an impact he did have to get the team kind of clicking on all cylinders in that 2019 season. It was a low, steady climb for the ball club as we made that move through the summer and eventually to the top spot in August. So, but anyway, good to see Sweeney there again. Played in 60 games last year at Winnipeg. The good news for Monarch fans and for the roster, he's not coming in cold. A lot of these guys, we've talked about this. Most of these guys have not played. I mean, Ramsey Romano, I believe, had 12 games in the Constellation League. And that's going to be a limited sample size. A few guys have played a Winter Bowl. Most of the guys have not played since 2019. Sweeney, one of the few that actually played in 20. I think that's a big plus. Keep an eye on that early in the season too, just how that impacts the ball club going forward. So, welcome, Darnell Sweeney. How about this play? You guys remember this too? This is from Steve Schuster. The great Steve Schuster there. Let me pull this up so I can hear this. But, of course, the voice of those Gold Eyes are good mate. But this play made by Sweeney last summer. You guys remember this?
The 2-2. Line drive out to center coming on Darnell Sweeney. Sweeney coming. The 2-2. The 2-2, line drive out to center, coming on Darnell Sweeney. Sweeney coming on, reaches, slides, tumbles, and Sweeney hangs on to make the catch. Spectacular play by Darnell Sweeney, who earlier today was announced as the American Association's Batter of the Month. Against strong winds, he's able to charge forward and makes a sliding catch before tumbling over and hanging on to retire Mikey Reynolds.
Really good right there. Look at that. Just phenomenal work by Sweeney. Again, and I don't think we realize just how versatile he was, because I think of him both in the outfield, but I remember that play from last summer, and I'm going, wait, this guy can go get it in the outfield too. And you forget the speed factor. And again, I mentioned the stolen bases, and we didn't really see, what do we see in the 6 stolen bases, but I kind of took for granted that it was 6 of 7. And let me pull that audio down too. Sorry about that, guys. It's still echoing in my ear here. Let me bring this down. I think it is. There we go. It's off. Sorry about that. It was echoing in my ears there. But yeah, the speed factor got a great jump. And you kind of forget, again, with the 6 out of 7 stolen in 19, I kind of forget that speed factor, but he had that great year last year on the base paths. You know, it bodes well. You look at his career numbers, stolen base wise, 8 minor league seasons, 88 stolen bases in his career. I'm sorry, 160. Pardon me, Darnell. You've had 160 stolen bases in his career. Career highs set, let's just go back. 13, he stole 48 in the California League. 15, he stole 32 at AAA OKC. Stole 18 combined at 2 stops in 17 at Louisville and AAA Oklahoma City, both AAA stops. So again, he's got some skins on the wall here. And then again, the 6, 14 last year, he would have definitely been looking at mid to high teens in stolen bases if he would have extrapolated that out during the whole season for Kansas City in 19. But welcome, Darnell Sweeney. Good news right there. And anytime you get a guy like that back, and again, and Joe just does
1-2, runner goes, pitches, swing on, hit in the air to left field. Third, 1-2, runner goes.
But get quality individuals, guys that not only are great ball players, but great people. And this is going to be bode well for the clubhouse, for the fandom, and really excited for him to be a Monarch. And I really look forward to seeing him patrol that outfield, probably in center. That would be my guess, but looking forward to it big time. See Darnell Sweeney back in KC. Okay, Austin says as well, good stuff from Austin saying, there's a really good book about Major League ball player going to war. It was a really interesting story. It made me think of that. Yeah, we're talking about the whole Team Israel thing for Ty Kelly. There's a lot of really good baseball war stories. I've actually got one here. I don't know if I've got it conveniently here, but I'm reading a book. I'm reading 2 right now. One's right below. It's actually holding up my camera. I got one, Only the Ball Was White, and I'm also reading one about the Monarchs' history from 1920, 1965. There's also, I ordered one too. It's got Ted Williams' war story as well. I got that as well. When are they starting games, Marcia? Well, opening day it's not been announced yet. We expect the schedule to be out in the next week or so, a couple of weeks maybe. But usually our schedule starts around mid-May. Some years it's been the 15th, 16th, 17th. It just kind of depends. But look for a mid-May start. That's the plan. And we're going to get to that in a moment to give you guys some updates on that from the ball club. But yeah, we'd love to have you out there as well. But definitely need to get some momentum out there. A couple of archives I pulled, and I wanted to show you guys this too. These are a couple of shots I had. This is kind of, when I think of Darnell Sweeney, this is what I think of as well when I thought about, the thing with the host parents. But this is also what I think of him. You remember this shot? I don't know if you guys remember this from the website. This would have been 2 years ago, but that is him right there in the outfield. He just made a phenomenal play. He made a sliding play, made the play, saved the day. And if you can see, he's got a smile on his face, and he's throwing the ball back in. See the ball, he's throwing it back in, but he's throwing it he's sliding in. He's getting up, smiling after making a great play. He always seemed to be smiling, happy to be there, happy to be playing ball. it's all contagious. I mean, a guy like that is contagious. As a broadcaster, I can tell you, looking at guys like him, I think of Daniel Nava. I mean, Daniel Nava was, a guy who did some very big things in the major leagues. His attitude was contagious. I think about Tommy Collier when his big smile after the game, after a great start or before a start when he'd come talk to me, an off day or whatever. Those are contagious attitudes, and I think Joe Capietra does such a phenomenal job of getting not just good players, but players that are good individuals as well, and they can make. If the broadcaster is affected by it, I think that's a good thing. I know the fans are, the team is, the franchise, the name, the brand, everything is affected by good quality people. So I really love to see that. Okay, a couple things coming up next Wednesday. We bring you back our official show. It's at the moment we're calling it Monarchs Live. We may change it, we may not. We're not sure yet. We're in the process of thinking through it, but I will have the Monarchs live show next Wednesday at noon, hard start noon Central Daylight Time on Facebook Live right here. I've reached out to Joe Capietra. We haven't quite set up a time yet, but I'm hoping to have Joe on the show. Future shows we're going to be hearing from in this off season, hearing from all your new front office folks and some folks you know. Obviously, you guys saw Morgan last Thursday week when we had the announcement downtown at 18th and Vine at the Negro Leagues Museum. But you'll have familiar faces like that, and you got to meet Mark Brandmeyer. You're also going to meet folks as well. We've got a lot of really exciting things planned, and some great staff members, some great team members of the family. Jay Hendricks will be one. Mark McKee, partner of Mark Brandmeyer, guys you're going to meet, and then some of the familiar faces too. You've got you're gonna I mentioned Morgan. But we're going to introduce ourselves to everybody. And you know how I am about the broadcast. I like to meet all the folks that work behind the scenes for our ball club, and you're going to meet them. And we're going to have them on the show. Also, our players reaching out. I know Ramsey Armato's looking forward to joining us as well, and other players. We're going to reach out, hoping to try to grab Ty Kelly and Darnell Sweeney for future shows. We'll start our first show next Wednesday at noon. And we'll also take your questions and comments, get you updated on any other news and notes on the hot stove, but mostly just talk a little Monarchs baseball and get that vibe going and get ready and kind of keep throwing that wood in the hot stove and give you some Wednesday's wisdom. We'll also do a little flashback to the Negro Leagues Museum, and we'll give you some history there because we're going to continue to educate each other on that because I'm learning and you're learning and kind of give you the insight on what a special name that Monarchs name means. There's a lot of special stories behind it, and that we're going to keep that legacy going. We're going to talk about that on Wednesday's show. So a lot coming up. That'll be next Wednesday noon Central Time. So please join me. And again, I'm working on some pre-production now, even though things are kind of scuffling here in our house. We're going to kind of fight through it and make it fly. So anyway, a couple of items too to pass along to you. Become a member. Become a member of the Monarchs. And this is something we talked about, and I thought it was really cool that within moments of our announcement last Thursday week, we had folks that became Monarchs members. And what is a Monarchs member? Well, let me tell you what you get. And it's pretty simple. First off, go to monarchsbaseball.com, and that will get you a start. But here's what you're going to get. I'll put it on the screen for you as well. What you're going to get as a Monarchs member, as we'll pull that up for you. There we go. Monarchs memberships will get you this. Excuse me, folks. Let me bring this up. There we go. Monarchs memberships get you this. You get a team jersey, Monarchs baseball, 2 tickets to opening homestand. Those dates, of course, to be determined, but it'll be mid-Mayish. 2 admissions to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, early access to season ticket options, 48 hours for the general public. So you get your best seats. You're not going to be waiting around. You're going to get good seats. And then the early access to select a seat event, placed in our quarterly ownership circle newsletter. And I tell you, we have a very active ownership and a very excited front office. They'll be able to get you guys in that newsletter, get you sorted, and get you caught up on all the news and notes as well. So you go, become a member. Become a Monarchs member right there. That's what you should do. So check that out again, monarchsbaseball.com, and I'll put those all up for you as well. And so we can pull that up as we reign reborn. There we go. monarchsbaseball.com. Also, there's ticket information there as well. It's all there. Ticket information. We've got merches, all that. I mean, it's really cool. You also see the video, the launch videos there. A great job of the staff and by the entire Monarchs family to get this website rolling. It's got all your sources right there, and it's going to kind of continue to build those building blocks as we get closer to the season. Also, remind you guys too to check out our mates over at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. There's their spot, NLB.com. And also, you can follow us and our other social channels. Basically, the easiest place is our Twitter page is, of course, Kansas City Monarchs. Also, our Facebook page, which you're watching now. And, of course, our website, which is Monarchs Baseball. We talked about that. Also, we've got our Twitter, we got YouTube, we've got, what am I missing, Morgan? Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, website. Sure, I'm missing something. We got plenty of them, right? Then you can follow me right there. There's Dan Vaughn Jr. That's me on Twitter. I will keep you updated as well. It's whenever I hear something from the team, I make sure it's out there and it resurfaces as well. As we Rain Reborn is the hashtag we're using. Love it, love it, love it. So there is all the notes right there. Also, one final thing before I go. Happy birthday to two folks. First off, the legend himself, Joe Capietra. His birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Skip. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Joe Capietra. Happy birthday to you, mate. Man, I love that guy. Legend. His birthday was yesterday. And also, it's been tipped as well that it's the state of Kansas birthday today as well. Happy birthday, the state of Kansas. You're a beaut. There's a shot of the ballpark right there and a little happy birthday to the great state of Kansas. Fine work from Morgan. I just love what she does. She does phenomenal work. But, very cool right there. But happy birthday to the state of Kansas right there. And again, thanks for joining me. Glad you guys stopped by. Much love. Again, next Wednesday, noon, we'll bring our first Monarchs Live. I know it's kind of generic, but you know what, though? Last summer, do you remember 19 summer? We had, of course, we had the steakhouse. That was kind of cool. Cup of Sizzle was kind of cool. But do you remember, I just went with T-Bones Live before and after the game. I don't think I think I think the Royals actually do Royals Live when they do their shows on Fox Sports, Midwest. So I don't think there's any crime in just saying Monarchs Live. And right now, we're trying to celebrate the name, and maybe it'll make me continue to not mess up because I'm actually going to get through a show without dropping the ball here, and I'm no swear jar for me. How about that? I told you I'd get this thing down to a science. But a big thanks for joining me. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you for the kind well wishes and prayers and thoughts. The folks that reached out to my wife and I personally, we are fighting through it, and yes, we're going to get better. And it's a crazy time. I can tell you this. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. Try not to get too emotional here, but I had a chance last night to see firsthand what our first responders are doing. It doesn't matter what city you live in, 10 buck 3, Kansas City or Dallas. Those first responders, frontline workers, healthcare workers are out there putting a smile on their face, showing love and empathy. And I truly appreciated seeing that last night because I was in a real strange place. I went for a treatment last night, and I had to go, though, it was in the ER area, and there was a lot of COVID people there. And, boy, your heart was just pounding and torn out to see that and see those healthcare workers working hard and doing it with a smile and putting a best face forward. And that's why I keep saying to you guys, let's be better tomorrow than we were today. Let's be better Monarch fans tomorrow than we were today. Let's love more. Let's love each other more. And I think the Monarchs name, the story is about love and about being better, bigger than oneself. And let's continue to do that. But much love to all you guys. A big thanks to Morgan for her help in getting those graphics done. She's a rock star, true legend. Thanks to Jay back at the ballpark and all the entire staff at Monarch Central there in KC. Much love to you guys. Much love to you fans. Don't forget, check out tickets, etc. on the website right now. Do that. Don't wait around. Don't wait around the May and go, you know what? I wish I would. I wish I could. And how I get into opening day. You'll call me and I'll say, mate, there ain't much I can do except for you have a good, hope you can see over the fence. I won't be able to help you then. So please get those tickets now and visit to get those memberships and check out the merchandise as well. Good to see you too, Bob. Appreciate you as well. And I do feel better trying to fight through it as the dog is fighting through it as well with us. But again, prayers for all you guys. Love you guys. See you guys on Wednesday. Have a great weekend. It's one more week of just resting around until we get the Super Bowl and we get to see the Chiefs run it back. And what, a week from Sunday? How about that? All right. Much love to you guys. We'll see y'all on Wednesday and have a great rest of your week, everybody. Go Monarchs!